Learning occurs at multiple levels and involves various actors. In order to explore the process in depth, the social enterprise and learning processes have been divided into smaller units of analysis. The social enterprise has been divided into 4 activity levels: the individual level, group or team level, organizational level, and network level. Learning levels used here are as discussed in learning literature, that is, individual, group or team, organizational, and interorganizational. Mapping the activity levels against learning levels, a discussion of the process of learning has been undertaken. At the individual level, the social enterprise involves 4 types of actors: the social entrepreneur, employees, the voluntary workforce which may or may not belong to the community being served, and the community members. These individuals bring with them their stock of knowledge, skills, and past experiences. The community workforce brings with it community-based local knowledge which facilitates the development of context-specific innovative solutions. This whole stock of information, experience, knowledge and expertise within an individual has been defined as human capital. At this level, learning is self-directed and occurs through personal experiences, failures, trial and error, and adaptation. The adult learning approach described by Colby provides a framework for understanding learning at this level. Individual learning largely remains tacit and manifests itself in verbalizations and actions. It can be leveraged in tacit and explicit forms in individual action and interpersonal interactions. At the group level, learning majorly occurs in 2 ways: in groups or project teams and in communities of practice. The team may involve the 4 kinds of individual actors in different combinations. Learning occurs in intra-team interactions or in exchanges with other teams within the boundaries of the organization or across organizational boundaries. Organizational learning models such as Nonaka 1994 and Crossan et al. 1999 can be utilized to understand learning at this level. Voluntary groups might also be formed within the organization and across organizational boundaries, wherein people are brought together by topics of mutual interest. These structures are referred to as communities of practice and have been identified as important for knowledge sharing, accelerated problem solving, and innovations. At this level of interaction, human capital is converted into intellectual capital, where knowledge is shared in the group or team through the formation of common mental maps. These interactions also result in the creation of human capital by adding to the individual's knowledge repertoire. Social relations are also formed as a result of the interaction process. These result in creation of social capital, which has been defined as goodwill, which enables development of support, information, and influence networks. Learning at the organizational level occurs when learning at the group level is institutionalized into practices followed by the organization. The process of learning at this level can be understood using Crossan et al.'s organizational learning model and Songe's learning organization model. The process of institutionalization results in generation of new knowledge which is stored in individuals in the form of human capital. Intellectual and social capitals are generated in the process of exchange of knowledge and practice in groups. In order to provide products and services to the end consumer, the social enterprise builds and maintains professional networks of stakeholders and partnering organizations. Information exchange and interactions in these networks is incorporated into the organization through boundary spanners and individuals involved in these interactions. At the same time, communities of practice may also exist across organizations, enabling learning in a voluntary, informal environment. Network capital is generated in formal networks and refers to rational calculated investments in exchange relationships between collectives or organizations which may or may not result in trust-based social relationships. Thus, network capital may result in development of social capital and vice versa as interactions become less or more relationship-oriented. Learning processes as described above can be located within different formalized and non-formalized structures at 3 loci of interaction: within the organization, between organizations, and between organization and community. Formalized structures include groups or teams and interorganizational networks. Communities of practice or COPs can be identified as non-formalized structures aiding learning across all the three loci. The characteristic of social entrepreneurship indicates that much of the learning comes from context-based interactions with the target community. Such learning can come from constant informal engagement of interested individuals in COPs. COPs aid in faster resolution of daily problems, provide an environment for enhancing the skills and knowledge of the members, enable development of expertise in problem solving, provide faster access to relevant information, result in development of standard procedures, and develop social capital through community building, trust, identity, and relationships. Three structural elements of COPs have been identified: a knowledge domain, which provides a sense of identity to the community, a community or social context for learning to take place, and practice, which includes ideas, information, tools, etc. developed by the community. Learning in COPs is a social process, thus situated in the interactions of individuals. Situated learning highlights the importance of the context in which learning takes place. This implies that learning in one context may not be completely applicable to another context and may not produce desired results. The process of becoming part of the community and learning has been described as legitimate peripheral participation. This is indicative of how new members socialize into the community. They begin by involving themselves in peripheral, simple tasks which enables them to learn the language of the community, familiarize with its narratives, understand its viewpoint, and develop identification with the community. Gradually, they involve themselves into more complex tasks and become more ingrained into the community, thus moving towards full participation and increasing their legitimacy within the group. COPs are based on learning by doing. Learning occurs by active participation rather than by learning about how to do certain tasks. Thus, learning is more in tacit form and interpreted in the context of the community. The process of learning in COPs, as described above, reflects congruence with the features of social enterprises. The necessity of the social enterprise to harness context-based tacit learning involving actors who may not be part of the formal organization renders it amenable to the development of COPs. Organizational literature has called attention to the benefits for organizations in formally supporting the development of COPs. In an ideal combination, formal teams and COPs coexist in what has been termed as the double-knit organization. COPs serve as arenas of knowledge development while formal teams and groups apply it for problem solving. Individuals who are part of both the team and the COP act as linking agents and align organizational requirements with COP activities. In conclusion, the paper develops a case for research on learning in social enterprises. Specifically, literature needs to be developed in order to examine the process of learning in COPs in social enterprises. Research efforts should also be directed at establishing the impact of learning on performance. Another important arena of research is the role of the social entrepreneur in bridging the structural hole in multiple COPs outside and within the organization. From a practitioner perspective, this paper enables social enterprises to develop a planned approach to learning. Creating a double-knit organization by developing COPs in addition to teams can facilitate learning and its utilization for organizational sustenance and growth.